Hello and welcome back to RC Icons. So in this episode, we need to address this thing. Finally. So this is my original Boomerang in purple. It's been sitting in the glass cabinets right there since I launched the channel. Exactly like this, with the front end completely spanked. Right? I have gotten more comments from people about fixing this car than I have on any other car that I have in my collection. When are you going to fix that thing? You got to fix that thing. I can't stand looking at it like that. Well, there's a reason why I haven't fixed it, to be completely honest. So I bought this as an original Boomerang eons ago, probably 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago at least. And I was just going to restore it. I have a new body and decals, original body and decals, and it was going to be my built car, and that was going to be it. No big deal, right? Then I ended up sourcing 2 new in-box kits, but there's a reason behind that. Originals. So this is an original new in-box kit, and I have another one. One will stay new in box as part of my NIB collection, and the other one will get built for the cabinets. This was going to get turned into a winger, and that's the whole point of this video. A, to fix it, because it needs to be fixed. It's been sitting there neglected for years, so it needs to be taken apart, cleaned, and fixed. So that's the point of this video. But in part 2 of the video, part 1 will be restoring the chassis. This still has the 3-step speed control in it, the resistor on it, and we'll probably leave it that way. But part 2 will be turning it in from a Boomerang to a Winger. So for those of you that aren't familiar, the Winger was a body set that was sold for the Boomerang family as a body set only. So Tamiya back in the day would do different bodies for particular families of cars. So they did the blue Saint Dragon body. Originally, that was sold as just a body set for, I believe, the Thundershot family car. The Winger was sold originally for the Boomerang family car. They also did the -1 Emperor, which also went on the Thundershot family car. And they did the Superstorm Dragon, I believe, for the Hopper chassis cars. So those were sold just as bodies, without the chassis, that you could put onto that particular family car. The -1 Emperor maybe fit on the Fire Dragon because it was dual shock. The blue Saint Dragon was definitely on the Fire Dragon because of the dual shock. I may have the -1 Emperor wrong. That might be on a mono shock, but I don't remember. I can't remember which one fit which. And then they obviously came out with the red Saint Dragon as a full kit later on. So that's the difference between the blue Saint Dragon and the red Saint Dragon from back in the day. And that's why when they reread the Saint Dragon, they did the blue one and they did it on the Thundershot family. Because that's how it was offered back in the day. You bought just the body and you put it on a Thundershot family car, but it had to be a dual shock car, not a mono. So I wanted to have a Winger in the collection. I like the Winger. A lot of people don't. It's definitely got more of a futuristic shape, but it's a cool looking car when it's all said and done. So originally I was doing it on a Penguin shell. Penguin does a Winger, and I love Penguin bodies. Steve Haskins, thank you for doing what you do. And MCI decals. And these ones are good. So that was my original intent, and then Martin in Switzerland put this one on eBay, and I immediately emailed him and said, what do you have to have for it? And he gave me a good price, so now we get to do an original Winger instead. So this is more of just an extra at this point. So yeah, we're going to take this original Boomerang and we're going to convert it into a Winger. Now, front arms on this are broken. That's why it's sagging, because the arm is actually the shock point for that that monoshock in the front. But the rest of this car, and you'll see when I bring the camera over, is actually in really nice shape for its age. I do have a pile of parts here. I've got an original body or driver figure for it. It's just the head. I thought the Winger, maybe it mounted to the cover. I'm not sure, but we'll have to see when we get to that point. So, and I think the Winger itself, I may have called the Boomerang a Winger, but I think the Winger itself has blacked out windows, maybe. I'm not sure. So we'll get into it. Let me bring the camera over. I want to show you a Boomerang new in box kit while I have it out. Seeing as we're working on a Boomerang, I'll show you what the presentation of a boom was back in the day, and then I'll show you what I have here, and we'll get into fixing this chassis. I haven't decided yet if we're going to rip it completely apart yet or not. We'll have to see, because it is in decent shape, but the shocks could use a cleanup. But the rest of it, short of a little bit of dust here and there, this car didn't have a hard life. These front arms can be brittle. My Super Sabre broke, just brand new build, just because of the plastics. I mean, the car had never been run. Let me bring the camera over and we'll show you what we have, and we'll get started. All right, now that I've got you in position, that looks nice, huh? Boomerang. So this box itself has a little bit of on the front, but it's not a big deal. To me, it's not about the box. So yeah, that's your original Boomerang box. Shows your hot shot front and rear gearboxes. Shows Techna Power as your optional motor. Back then, I don't even know if the Techna Gold was out yet. The Techna Power came stock in the Super Shot, which is about the same time period. I forget what year the Boom came out. I think it was like 86. I think it was 86. Where is it? Number 58055. Right, the wild one was 50. The hot shot was, I forget what it was. But yeah, as far as optional parts, you know, it shows the Super Spike tires, which are their Super Shot tires, ball bearings, and the Techna Power motor. Full-wheel drive, oil-filled CVAs. A little bit of presentation with the Boom back then, a little bit of blister packs, but the smaller kits were more indicative of having those smaller blister packs. And then, you know, your original body stapled to the placard underneath with the CVAs under there and the decals. Yeah, all your hardware is in here with your outdrives and your axles. It's got your bevel gears up top, and then it came with a 13 and a 15 tooth pinion. And then all your parts trees down below with your oval block tires. So that's the presentation of a Boomerang. An original Boomerang. The Riri doesn't look like that. They just threw the stuff in there like they do with most of the Riris. The Riri came out 2005, I believe. 2005 was the Riri, and they may have done another run later. I'm not sure. So that's the original Boom. Just ran the Super Sabre literally a month ago, and this chassis is an awesome chassis. I had a blast with that Super Sabre. I ran it hard. And what's funny is I ran it hard after fixing arms that broke under their own weight sitting in the studio. So I'll show you the car first, and then we'll get into the body. So I just need to pull a couple of body pins here. So whoever built this car didn't run it really a whole lot, and I know it's an original. So there's your original Boomerang shell, paper thin, just like the one that's in there. They only put the window decals on, And then as we look at in the inside of the car, we've got our manual 3-step speedo. It still has the battery pack for the Beck, the 4 AA batteries. You got your resistor. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's missing the resistor plate or cover. Switch is mounted on the side, and then steering servo is down below. Drive shaft comes through the center here. It's got 2 Futaba it's got 2 Futaba servos, and it's got a Futaba receiver down below. So we'll probably end up taking a lot of that out, or maybe we'll leave it in and we'll just fix the arms, because this car is so clean that I don't know that I need to rip the whole thing apart. I don't know if there's bearings in there or not. We'll find out when we at least take the wheels off. I'm not gonna run it. I didn't buy this to be a runner. I'll run the new built Boomerang at least once. So maybe we'll just leave it alone and do the body and get it fixed. Maybe we can get it done in one video. So that's the car, and then this is just the parts. These are the leftover arms for the side of the Super Sabre that didn't break, and it's ironically the opposite side, so I can use these arms on this. But in the event, this is also missing the battery pin. So I bought the tree for the battery pin, and I bought another full set, 2 full sets of arms. Just in the event in the future I need parts. And then this is an original Boomerang driver's head, but there's no body on it. Oh, the body is in there. It's just snapped off the tree. So yeah, it has the body on it. I'm not sure how it mounts, but I do have a Boomerang manual right there, so we can take a look at it. So this is the Penguin Tamiya Winger body. And then MCI original reproduction decals. So I believe the Winger is gunmetal. And I know some people in the comments are going to say, I can't believe you're using that body set. Yeah, well, I bought it to use it, so we're using it. So this thing is in great shape too. No protective film, but completely clear. Not like one speck of dust on it at all. So there's our Winger body. Our Winger wing. There's no stamping on the Winger body or the wing. 1987. And then there's our Winger decals. So let's just take a quick look here. At color. So the Winger originals are definitely a little bit more orange or darker than the original reproduction. The red is darker on the original reproduction than the original red. You can see the difference in the color, or at least you should be able to. These are way brighter red. All of the red is brighter, in fact. And then the stripes are, these are a little bit darker stripes. So darker, lighter, lighter on the originals. But still great to have. I don't know what I'll do with that body and decals. I'm not going to need them. So yeah, the Winger does the body mounts through the body mounts through, and maybe the Boomerang does as well, which is fine. And then I believe, oh, of course, we're dealing with all Japanese instructions. I believe it's gunmetal. I'll have to look it up. I'll have to look up the color. But I'm pretty sure it's gunmetal. But at least it gives me the decal layout. That's really all I need. This shows the driver figure being mounted to a roll bar. So maybe that's how it was on the Boomerang, I'm not sure. But either way, it shows it here mounting to the body. Maybe you're taking it off the roll bar here, I don't know. But it shows it here as well. Either way, we'll get it on there. There's a screw hole in the top for it, so we'll probably just mount it through the top. Because I don't have a roll bar on the car. So let's get started with the car. Get this cleaned up and everything out of the way. And then we'll move on to the body. Whether it's this video or a separate video, we'll see how long it takes to get the car done. So I guess I can leave that there. I'm going to just start taking this car apart, and I'll bring you back as I have stuff to show you, like usual. Alright, so I've got the car broken apart, I think as much as I need to. So all the wheel adapters are broken. I'm not sure. My Super Saber might have black ones in there as well as the red ones. I'm not sure. I'll have to look in the box. I think they have those same adapters in the Avanti kit as well, potentially. So this is the broken arm that everybody's been looking at for 2 years, or for at least the last 6 months. The kit is not ball raced. I'm going to leave it bushed because I don't plan on running this car. But for those of you that have never seen a Boomerang front suspension, it is pillow ball. So there's a pillow ball on both sides, and that's what allows it to flex. So there's a metal pillow ball on both sides with a metal retainer underneath on both arms, and that's how the Hot Shot and all of those early period cars work. Same kind of setup. So I'm going to get this taken apart and get the arms changed, get everything transferred over to the other set of arms. Shock feels alright, and it's really not all that dirty, so I'm probably just going to leave the car alone and just move straight into the body, because it's just a nice clean car. It doesn't need a whole lot. So I don't want to make a video just for the sake of making a video. Taking apart just for the sake of taking it apart. I think we'll just fix what needs to be fixed and move on. So these are my new arms. Here. So we'll get everything swapped over, and we'll start putting this back together. We'll see you in just a minute. The arm is fixed, boys and girls. Look at that. This was the side that was broken. So that's fixed, and I decided we're not doing anything else with the car. I might do a light cleanup of parts just as it stands. I'm not putting bearings in it, because this is specifically a shelf queen. For those of you that hate shelf queens, I'm sorry, it is what it is. I could always just take the body and stick it on the Boomerang when I build it and run it so that you can see a Winger run. I really just need it for the chassis. So we're going to get started. Sorry for the noise. I have looked everywhere online to see if Tamiya specifies a color. Now I know they do. My next option is to try to have this Japanese deciphered on Google to see what they come up with, but even Tamiya base does not give an option on color. So if I can't figure out what color it's supposed to be, I'm going gunmetal. Those colors are just like, in my mind, the original Evolution colors. And obviously the gunmetal looks great. And the Evolution is my favorite car. It's my shirt. Same colors as my logo and my shirt. So worst case scenario, I'm going gunmetal, regardless. So I'm going to try to decipher this real quick. I'll cut this out. I'm going to fit it to the car, and then I'll bring you back just before I go to paint with it. I'm gonna mask off the canopy real quick. So I'll bring you back in a second. Canopy masked, body cut out, mounted to the car, wing mounted to the car. And in the meantime, I'll try to figure out what this... Anyone read Japanese? Tell me what that squiggle is. No? What good are you? I'm only kidding. See you in a second. Alright. So I put a new bumper on it just because the old bumper had... I mean, it's actually a really nice bumper. It just had a couple of tiny little scratches on it. And I had a new bumper for it anyway, so it was like, whatever, I'll just throw it on. So this is the Winger, for those of you that have never seen one before. So now you can see why they call it the Winger. It basically, the body and wing almost look like they're attached, but they're not. You can see the gap there. But it's supposed to just look like a continuation. Fits the chassis absolutely perfect. And it's kind of hard to see the detail in it until it's painted. But I think the thing looks awesome, to be honest. That's just my opinion. So I've got it masked off. I just need to do a quick cleanup on it. Rub it down with some alcohol wipes, and I'm going to get it painted. And I am doing the gunmetal. That's what I decided to do. So I'll see you back here with a painted car and just before we decal it. Phew, that was not easy. You look at that body shell, right? You got these two ridges, and you think about how hard it is to paint just a tiny little ridge like that on a wing. Never mind these deep, deep ones. Look how deep those are, right? And how deep those are. So to get paint inside of all of that and have it dry and not puddle, it had to be at least 13 coats. You know, and you're trying to just hit those areas that once you get 3 coats, 4 coats on the rest of the car, you're just trying to hit those areas and not have it puddle. I did get a little bit of puddling on the roof, but it is what it is. It's fine. Once you get the decals on it, that all kind of goes away. The wing actually came out pretty good for as much paint as you had to throw on the thing. That's just the nature of those metallic paints. They're somewhat thin when you're spraying them, and then to try to get in those areas and get enough in there where it stays is not easy. So we're going to move forward here with the decals, start getting these cut out, and we'll just follow the sheet by number and get them on there. I think this thing's going to look unbelievable once it's done. And that gunmetal. Glenn, back in, I don't even know, probably 2016, on Tamiya Legends, showed a winger that he did. Probably a penguin wing. I think he was in the UK back then, but probably a penguin wing and MCI decals. But that thing looked awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this comes out. So we'll see you. I may just decal it. I may get the stripes on and then show you, but we'll see. I'll bring you back when and if I have something cool to show you, either or it'll just be the finished product. But I'll see you in a second. Well, that was a pain in that. Those decals are tough. So the first one goes on, it's black in the front, and then you got to get these stripes on. And I laid this side first, and when I laid this side, I went and I brought it too far up the side of this ridge. There's actually a body hole underneath here. It's supposed to be lined up with the cut on the decal. This side I got closer, you can see it. But because that's rounded, because that goes up the sidewall of that fin, this matches this, remember from the previous? So I had to bring this one up that fin just a little bit so that the lines would match up. Right? This side, no big deal. This side, and because I had to roll it up that fin and I had a step, I had to lay this part of the decal, rolling it up the fin, making little cuts, because you're rolling up as you're rolling up, so you have to make little cuts in the decal as you go. And then I had to groove it and then get the back folded over and roll up and make cuts and then fold it under both sides. This side went way easier. So yeah, that was a test. And then when I tried pulling this up to reset it, and I was successful to a certain point because there was a bunch of creases in it, and I got it to lay flat. But when I did that, it ripped this triangle off. So then I had to pull that off, get that reset and in position. So this side was a nightmare. But because it was a nightmare, I was able to really take my time and get this one in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 decals, hour and a half. It calls for, on the side wing, this red, white, and blue Tamiya decal, and I think it's going to look stupid. It does not call for this comic decal anywhere. So I'm going to put the red, orange, yellow, and blue comic decal on the side wings instead of those Tamiya ones, just because I think they'll look better. Other than that, I have a winger to put on both sides. I've got a black number 3 to go on both sides, and a couple of black small comic boom boom and hypercam engineering decals to go on. The other one that I was thinking about for the wing was the Jackman wheels, the white Jackman wheels. Maybe just doing that on the side. There is 2 Pennzoils, 2 Pro Gas. From what I can tell in the decal sheet, those sponsorship decals are not on here, and I would just assume leave them off because I could use them on other projects. So I'm going to keep moving forward here, cutting out the ones that are on the sheet, and I'll bring you back here in a second with a finished car. Alright, you ready for the final reveal? You can see already I changed the wheels. Good thing I put those new adapters on. It came right back off. It didn't look good with the white wheels. And if I had it to do, well, I guess the blue works because there's some blue. There's your winger. I ended up going with, obviously, orange wheels. You can see your black lettering on there. You got some blue in that decal. And you've got some blue on the, whatever the heck the duck thing is there. That brings the blue plastics into it. And then the body figure, the driver, I went orange, black seatbelt, silver buckles, black rim. So there's your decal pattern. And that's your winger from whatever, 1987. Absolutely awesome. I'm psyched. And finally, we don't have to look at it with a dilapidated front end. So, let me get this cleaned up and I'll bring you back for a closing. So I hope you guys like that. Nothing like taking an old battered boomerang that's been sitting in the cabinet broken for 2 years and turning it into something like that. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, to be completely honest, but that's just me being biased, I guess. I had to put the orange wheels on it. I just think it looks so much better. The decals were a bit of a bitch, but overall the car is stunning. Stunning is probably not the words a lot of people would use for the Winger, but I absolutely love it. So yeah, if you didn't know about the Winger, or you haven't seen a Winger done, hopefully this intrigued you. And when I first put the shell on, I was looking at the blue plastics and I was like, boy, the red Super Saver plastics would probably look a lot better. But now that I've got the orange wheels on and I've seen the blue and some of the decals, the blue plastics is fine. I wouldn't change a thing on the car. I think everything goes. So yeah, I mean, we've got an original Boomerang with all original running gear, mechanical speed control, original motor, original bushings. It's got the original bushings. 100% original. I decided to leave the oval block tires just because I think they suit it. And I hate oval blocks, but they absolutely suit this car because of the time period. And then I think that decal pattern with the gunmetal is just spot on. So you'll have to tell me in the comments what you guys think. Love it or hate it. It's a Winger. If you guys aren't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the future builds. Turn all the notifications on. Send me a comment because I love talking back and forth with you guys. And then until next time, we'll see you soon. Thanks.